Hey, guess what's happening on this week's episode of the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with your friend and host, Oscar Camejo.
If you've been diagnosed with prediabetes or full-blown type 2 diabetes, whether recently or it's been several months and maybe even years, and you're having a really tough time trying to figure out how to deal with the condition and the complications that are associated with type 2 diabetes, this is the podcast episode for you. What if I told you that there is a simple way to not only manage type 2 diabetes, but to also beat it? Imagine finally being able to take control over your health. I know the struggle and I know it's real. In today's episode, I'm going to share with you what I have personally experienced to be the simplest, most effective way to not only manage type 2 diabetes, but to also possibly reverse it. Beating prediabetes and even type 2 diabetes does not have to be so complicated. It's possible to reverse the condition. Yes, folks, it's possible to get your blood sugar under control, to lose weight and keep it off. It's possible to come off medication. It's possible to eat foods that you love. Who wants to give up eating the foods that they love? Nobody. It's possible to start feeling better every day, regain your energy, and enjoy a healthy lifestyle. Diabetes does not have to win, my friend. Diabetes is not the end. In fact, today is the first day of the rest of your life. So what are you going to do with it? Stick around to hear the rest of today's episode. You don't want to miss it. Let's go. Be sure to visit the website at www.beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com for access to free resources and other information that will help you along your journey. If you would like to submit a question or a comment about the show or to learn more about the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle, you can always email me at hello@beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to this podcast. Welcome to the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with me, your host, Oscar Camejo, helping diabetics make lifestyle changes to reverse type 2 diabetes. Today, let's dive into this episode, the simplest way to beat type 2 diabetes. I want to share with you a couple of stories and even get into my story and my journey. There's people who follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, you name it, including watching me on YouTube and other platforms. And I'm so grateful for those who've been following for a number of years and just been supporting. I get messages all the time, emails, direct messages, and people coming up to me at the gym. It's been a great journey to just have this platform to really help people. And that's what I am geared and built to do, is to help people. I love this platform. I love the opportunity to help people. So I get comments all the time, and I want to share with you a couple of comments that I received from a few followers, one from Facebook and another one from Instagram. And these are real stories that are really impactful. This first one comes from someone who I'm going to call Bernie, just to protect privacy and so forth. Bernie wrote, "I stumbled across your podcast after getting the results of some blood work being done. I was extremely depressed and upset with myself. I think I've listened to every episode in the last 3 weeks, sometimes with tears in my eyes. Thanks for your transparency. It's been extremely helpful. I've cut out sugary drinks, sweets, and started moving more. I'm down 15 pounds and feeling really good. I'm about 2 months from being rescreened for type 2 diabetes. My doctor wants to see my A1C come down from 6.5. Thank you." Awesome, Bernie. I really appreciate that. Here's another one from Instagram, someone who I'm going to call Sam. Sam wrote, "I was diagnosed in 2014. I'm 218 pounds. I'm 6'1". I try to eat better now. I'm on Jardiance and metformin. I'm very active." But then he asked, "How can I beat diabetes?" See, folks, these are real stories These are real situations that people like you are experiencing. So Sam's story and his question really got me thinking, man, people really want to know how to beat type 2 diabetes. So I started thinking, why not just go ahead and tell my story and share the simple, practical steps that you've taken to actually beat type 2 diabetes? No brainer, of course. So here's my story, because folks, I can relate. I can relate to Bernie's situation. I can relate to Sam's situation. So here's my story. When I was 268 pounds and diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in August 2020, it was clear that I needed to lose weight. My size and my lack of adequate sleep were negatively impacting my health. My poor choices of the things that I was eating, it was really bad. I would wake up sometimes in the middle of the night just with cravings. I had to go to the bathroom, and after using the bathroom, just still having more cravings for food. It was just really hectic. And because I had all these cravings and dealing with type 2 diabetes, it was like, man, just this roller coaster of emotions, this roller coaster of just up and down, taking my medications. Am I doing it right? And it was just really confusing at times. So confusing that I was set back sometimes. I would be taking my medication. I would be eating right, quote unquote. I would be trying to exercise, but it was just so complicated. And I know a lot of you all are going through the same thing. And I don't know about you, but I do not like things to be so complicated. Now, what about you? What's going on in your life? Are you experiencing a lot of just confusion, a lot of dealing with the complications of your health? Are you struggling with your weight? Are you struggling with exercising? Are you struggling with sleeping? A lot of us have dealt with that. And so you're not alone. So what does reversing type 2 diabetes and prediabetes actually mean? Well, here's a simple answer. Reversing type 2 diabetes or prediabetes involves achieving and maintaining blood sugar levels within a normal range without the need for medications. This is often accomplished through lifestyle changes, including a healthy diet, regular exercise, and weight management. So I want to break it down and allow it to be really simple for you. Reversing equals remission. Remission equals reversing. So diabetes and prediabetes, they carry their own complications. I know with me, I had the frequent urination. I had the up and down struggles with sleep. I was dehydrated. I had issues with my vision at one point. And my blood sugar numbers were, of course, high. I had cholesterol issues. I had high blood pressure issues. There was a lot of things going on collectively. And I was dealing with what's called metabolic syndrome. That's like a bunch of things happening all at once in your body. And they were all stemming or in conjunction with type 2 diabetes and having type 2 diabetes. One thing led to the other, one thing was connected to the other, and so forth. So having metabolic syndrome is a common thing that a lot of people deal with. When you're overweight, you have insulin resistance, and quite a few things are going on in your body that are happening behind the scenes. So let me say this as a disclaimer. I'm a guy who used to be where you are. Yes, I can relate to where you are. I'm not a physician. I'm not a doctor. So I'm not offering medical advice in this episode or through my podcast. So please, I want you to still consult your doctor and other healthcare professionals who can help you with developing a personalized approach and give you personalized guidance and helping you to monitor your progress as you work on your health and improving your health. But I'm here to inspire you while you're going through the process of regaining your health and reversing type 2 diabetes. Listen, my doctor never once told me anything about reversing type 2 diabetes. I didn't even know it was a reality or even a possibility. So it became foreign to me. But then I started coming across literature and so forth that really spoke more to what I just had a gut feeling that, man, there's more to this than just taking medication every day. There's more to it than getting surgery and so forth. So today's topic, remember, we're talking about the simplest way to beat type 2 diabetes. You see, reversing type 2 diabetes is a journey, folks. How long or how short that journey will be is up to you and me. You know, I get asked often, Oscar, when did you actually reverse type 2 diabetes and how long did it take? What things did you do to make it a reality? Folks, let me say this. No matter what route you take to improve your health is going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight. Like they say, Rome was not built overnight. It wasn't even built in a week. You see, some people choose different methods. They choose weight loss surgery. They choose gastric bypass surgery. They choose different types of surgeries to deal with the complications related to type 2 diabetes, related to their weight. They want to get the weight off because they realize or they hear that, hey, the quicker you can get the weight off, the better you can be in a position to manage type 2 diabetes. So people take that route. You have some people that go on very restrictive diets, like highly restrictive diets. They may go keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, carnivore diets. Some adopt a low carb diet. They go on low fat diets because they're like, oh, fat is the enemy. You know, dietary fat is the enemy. So I need to go through that. Or some people may choose the Mediterranean style of eating. Some people may go flex and adopt a flexitarian type approach. So some other people also sign up for really tough workout programs and they figure, you know what, I need to be intense in the gym. I need to just sweat. I need to just go really hard. Well, they say no pain, no gain. So really people go to that extreme. And then you also have some people who say, you know what, I don't like exercising. I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to eating healthy. So you know what I'm going to do, Oscar? I'm just going to take some meds. And if there's a pill that's going to help me lose weight, I'm going to take that. If it's a pill that's going to help me to regulate my blood sugar, I'm going to do that. You have people that amass all these different types of methods, and it leads to more and more complications. They lead to more and more bouts with depression, even because they're like, man, this is just so much and I'm not seeing results. So folks, which approach is the best or correct one to beat type 2 diabetes? You know, there is no one size fits all method, but I do believe in simplicity. No matter what you choose. Because listen, regardless of which approach you take, beating type 2 diabetes will require this one thing. And it's simple, but people make it very complicated. And that is consistency. That's right, consistency. You see, consistency refers to the ability to maintain a regular and steady pattern of behavior or performance over a period of time. In the context of health, developing consistency involves establishing and sticking to positive habits. And I know you may be thinking, okay, Oscar, I hear what you're saying. Just be consistent and you'll get results. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You see, to build consistency in terms of your health, you have to start with the realistic goals. You have to create a schedule. Yes, you have to gradually start incorporating small changes. When you start focusing on sustainable habits like regular exercise, balanced nutrition, and sufficient sleep, you're gonna get results over a period of time. Yes, I encourage people to track their progress. I encourage folks to be accountable. I talk about accountability all the time. It's important to seek guidance from professionals in the medical and nutrition industry to help you to achieve and maintain a healthy lifestyle. But again, You can amass all of this information. You can get books on books. You can sign up for all these different programs. You can spend a lot of money on all of this stuff. But if you do not set your mind to be consistent, I guarantee you that you will not get results. I use this example often. It's the example of a sculptor. A sculptor chisels away at a huge stone until that stone starts to take shape. There's no sculptor in history that just chiseled one time or 1 hour and said, hey, here's a masterpiece. The statue of Michelangelo's David was not built and created after one session. It took years. The Thinking Man by, I think it was Rodin, that's one of my favorite sculptures, is the guy who's just kind of pondering and he's thinking. That's one of my favorite ones. That sculpture didn't happen overnight. It took this slow, consistent working towards the goal that the sculptor decided, hey, you know what? This stone, marble or whatever it's made out of, it hasn't taken shape yet, but I have a vision and I'm going to see the results of that vision come to pass, and it's going to take time. I don't know how long it's going to take. I can estimate it, but it's going to take some time. So folks, consistency is the simplest way to beat type 2 diabetes, and even reversing prediabetes if you've been diagnosed with prediabetes. But now here's the problem. Some people deal with consistency problems or consistency issues. There's people that come to me sometimes and say, man, I wish I had your discipline. I wish I had your consistency. Just the other day, I had just started working out in the gym, and I normally have this specific area in the gym that I normally work out. It was a functional area. And this lady was there, and so she was like, oh, I'll be out of your way. I've never met the lady before. And I was like, oh, no, it's okay. You can work out. She was like, no, you're really consistent. You're always in that spot over there. I was like, what? I didn't know. Like I said, I've never met this lady before. And that has happened before where people are like, hey, yeah, I know your spot is right over there. I was just keeping it warm for you. And I'm not territorial or anything like that, but, I have idiosyncrasies. I like going to the same spot. It's a part of my whole routine. Yes, I go to the gym every day. It didn't start off like that. But when that lady said to me, you're really consistent, I'm like, wow. I mean, I have guys that come up in the gym. They ask me if I'm a personal trainer, or can I show them how to do some movements and, flexibility movements? Can I show them how to do this? Can I show them how to, drop the weight? And I'm like, dude, I'm not, a certified personal trainer, at least not at the time of this recording. But people ask because people are drawn to consistency. Let me say that again. People are drawn to consistency. Consistency wins the day, folks. But now guess what? The problem is when it comes to inconsistency or not being consistent, there's different reasons. There's different reasons why some people have a hard time being consistent. Some people have a lack of motivation. They're dealing with depression and anxiety. They have unrealistic expectations when it comes to their health and reversing type 2 diabetes. Time constraints, living a really busy and stressful life prevents some people from being consistent. Poor planning. What is that saying? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail, something like that. Some people deal with the fear of failure. They want to succeed, but they are afraid. They're dealing with a lot of fear. And here's a big one, just plain old distractions. Distractions. One of the things I always tell people is to stay focused, keep moving, and never go back. When it comes to pursuing goals, it's easy to be distracted and to be thrown off and to lose sight and to lose focus. That's why I tell people that it's important to make sacrifices. when it comes to achieving results. You can have the desire, you can have the will, but you're going to have to make some sacrifices, folks. You're going to have to identify time wasters like excessive TV watching and gaming. For those who are gamers, you can spend hours and hours in front of that gaming monitor and gaming console, and before you realize it, you wasted so much time. Another time waster could be social media. Now, I love social media, but there has to be a limit, folks. We have to make better use of our time, especially while we have the health that we have, regardless of where you are in your health journey. We have to eliminate waste, no pun intended. We have to eliminate those things that are causing us to waste time. Consistency is the key, folks. Again, no matter what approach you decide to take, if you fail to be consistent, you are not going to get the results that you're hoping for. You see, coming out of the hospital, I had a decision to make. When I was in the hospital in August 2020, that's when I first learned of having type 2 diabetes. I was sitting there in the hospital, and maybe a day or so from being discharged from the hospital, I had to make a decision. What was I going to do with the rest of my life? And you know what? I made a decision while in the hospital that forever changed my life. I'm alive today, folks, because I decided to take my health very seriously. You see, folks, it's not about intensity all the time. You're like, okay, well, I hear that I need to lose weight to manage type 2 diabetes and get my blood sugar under control. So I need to be very, very intense. I need to go to the gym and just have these intense 2-hour sessions of working out. Folks, it's not about intensity, but rather it's about consistent action. There were days I would pull up to the gym and I didn't feel like going in. I didn't feel like doing any intense exercise because my body was hurting. My back was hurting, my knees were hurting, my ankles were hurting, my neck was hurting, everything was just hurting. I was dealing with inflammation in my knees and I didn't even know it. I didn't know the problem was because of the inflammation, which leads back to how I was eating and the stuff that I was putting in my body. I didn't know. All I knew was go to the gym, sweat, to quote unquote burn off this fat. And at the same time, mind you, I was taking medication, I was taking insulin injections, and I was nervous. Okay, should I even be working out at all while I'm taking these injections? Because I had heard, hey, you take too much insulin right before you work out, you can pass out and all this other stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, the fear mongering was just wild. It was like, what am I supposed to do, man? So again, it's not about intensity. Now, I love HIIT training, which is high intensity interval training. I love it now, but intensity, me doing intense workouts for 5, 10 hours a day is not, I don't do that. But you get what I'm saying. Doing high intensity workouts alone is not the key to beating and reversing type 2 diabetes. You see, again, it's not about the intensity, but rather it's about the consistent actions that we decide to take and that we actually execute. That makes a difference. You see, it's doing the boring, the monotonous things that won't produce immediate results, but rather doing those monotonous day-to-day things that will produce results over time. That's the key, folks. I'm telling you. Is the accumulation of a lot of little things and a lot of good practices that will make a difference. Stop making giving into distractions a guarantee, but being consistent an option. You see, we do more of giving into distractions and we make that a guarantee. Well, you know, it's a guarantee that I'm going to give into distractions. We do this subconsciously. But when it comes to being consistent, it's like, okay, consistency, that's going to be an option. You know, folks, I want us to reverse that. I want us to stop giving into the distractions, stop giving into social media and those time-wasting things and activities that we do. I love going out with my friends and family. I love it. But guess what? I'm not going to allow socializing to override and overtake me eating healthy and doing the necessary things to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Now, it's great. I have several communities of friends that we all enjoy health. We get together on a weekly basis and we go running, we go exercising together. I mean, yes. So it's like-minded people doing the things that we want, that we need to do to maintain good health. That's A1. That's an A1 thing to do. So folks, let me say this again. Stop making giving into distractions a guarantee and being consistent an option. Do the reverse. Make being consistent a guarantee. That's a guaranteed thing that you're going to do. And giving into distractions an option. What about this mentality of maybe? When you think of the word maybe, you're talking about options and possibility and so forth. But I want to tell you something about that word maybe. It's very dangerous, especially when you're talking about reversing type 2 diabetes, getting your health in order and so forth. You see, I believe that maybe is the enemy of consistency. Maybe I'll go to the gym today. I don't know. I'll see how I feel. Maybe I'll cook dinner, or better yet, maybe I'll just pick up something on the way home. And then you end up pulling into the drive-thru. Maybe I'll read the material that my doctor and nutritionist gave me and my diabetes educator gave me, when I have some time. But you know what? I am going to get on social media. Maybe. It's like there's things that we know we should be doing, but we make those things an option. And the things that are not beneficial for us, we make those things a guarantee. Folks, we need to change. I transformed my life, and so can you. It didn't happen overnight, but it did take consistency. The consistency of doing the programs day in and day out. The eating healthy day in, day out. I never counted carbs. I never counted calories. I didn't sign up for any program. I didn't do any of that. But I did find material that resonated with what was going on in my heart. I was like, man, I know there's more to it than, going on these extreme diets and signing up for these programs that guarantee results in 30 days. And so out of that came the Beating Diabetes lifestyle, because I started seeing results in my own life. So folks, consistency wins the day. Consistency. Now here's some things when I talk about how I transformed my life and the fact that I was able to transform my life, and there's some practical things that I did, and I'm going to give you 7 things that I did, 7 basic things that I did that I had to be consistent with. And I want to share that with you because if I can do it, if I can lose over 80 pounds in less than a year, I believe you can too. You could probably achieve greater results. I was able to come off medication. I was able to come off high blood pressure medication. I was able to come off high cholesterol medication. I was able to, really get to the point of feeling better. But it didn't happen overnight, as I mentioned before. I had to become my own sculptor to sculpt the life that I'm living right now. My physique right now is what I envisioned back when I started taking my health journey seriously. I'm telling you, I wanted a more athletic build. I wanted to be more active and healthy. Folks, I'm living out that vision. But when I was in the hospital and the months after the hospital, and I was feeling like a big fat walrus, I was feeling down and depressed, but I knew enough to keep moving. I knew enough to stay focused. I knew enough to remain consistent. So here are the 7 things that I believe can help you to jumpstart your journey towards good health. Now, this is not step by step, do this, boom, 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 boom. These are things that you have to do consistently. So, number 1, I want you to learn about sugar, processed carbs, and their effects on your body. Number 2, I want you to stop drinking sugary drinks, or at least reduce it, minimize it, because the liquid calories, the high sugary drinks where there's lemonades, the sweet teas, the pops, the sports drinks, those things are really quick ways to put on weight, and they're causing blood sugar spikes, and you really don't need it, folks. Number 3, I want you to begin weaning yourself off of sugary foods and high starchy foods, and understand even what does that mean. It's more than just the pastries, the cookies, and so forth, but there's some foods that just have sugar in it for just the taste. Like some of your spaghetti sauces that you buy out of the can, look at the sugar content. You'll be blown away. Number 4, I want you to consistently eat more green vegetables, or vegetables, period. I want you to eat a variety of vegetables more consistently. I also want you to drink more water consistently. So that's number 4 is eat more veggies and drink more water consistently. Number 5, I want you to stop eating out late at night, or eating late at night, period. Whether you're going out with friends or you're eating at home, there's no reason why you should be eating after, let's say, 9, 10 o'clock p.m. and then going right to bed, folks. Now, I don't know your lifestyle. I don't know, maybe you work at night and so forth. But the point is, I don't want you to eat and then eat a lot of food late at night, then going and sleeping right after you finish eating your food, because it's just not helping you to burn off those excess calories, especially if you're eating a lot of food on a regular basis. Number 6, let's move on. Of course, I want you to exercise regularly and be consistent with it. Does that mean you have to go to the gym and work out an hour a day? No. It's recommended that people work out 150 minutes per week. That's 30 minutes over 5 days or so. You can do that. I'm pretty sure you can find 30 minutes of regular exercise. And then, of course, over time, you'll be able to increase the amount of or the types of workouts that you do, to do more aerobic exercises, some strength building exercises, mobility exercises, and so forth. And of course, number 7, you have to start getting proper sleep, folks, and adequate and quality sleep. And there's all kinds of studies on the benefits of getting proper sleep on your health, for your health, especially when you're wanting to manage your blood sugar and so forth. So these 7 things that I share with you is not a do this first and do this last. It's a collection of things that you should begin doing consistently on a day-to-day basis. Remember what we talked about earlier about what is the definition of consistency and what consistency really means. I'm going to read it to you again. Consistency refers to the ability to maintain a regular and steady pattern of behavior or performance over time. And in the context of health, developing consistency involves establishing and sticking to positive habits. You see what I'm saying, folks? Now, there are a lot of things that I talk about in my podcast episodes, and I really believe that we just scratched the surface today. But the key takeaways, again, is consistency. It's, yes, you want to be motivated, but for me, the motivation came after being consistent. It's doing the monotonous day in and day out, the things that sometimes seem like it's just very boring. Those things lead to great results later on, folks. So don't give up, cave in, and quit. Yeah, it may feel like, man, I'm just, not getting results. And is this stuff really working? Well, have you worked the process long enough to even get the results? So eating healthy 1 week and you're only seeing half a pound being lost, there's a bunch of things that you have to factor in. That doesn't mean that eating healthy is not worth it. Oh, I'm just going to go enjoy myself. I'm just going to eat a bunch of carbs and just, I'm not going to stop eating carbs. I don't believe you have to stop eating carbs. It's understanding what carbs are doing to your body and what are some healthy carbs to put in your body. You see, folks, by me studying more about nutrition and wellness, my eyes open to all kinds of possibilities. I haven't stopped eating. I don't starve myself. I haven't stopped eating carbs. I just changed the type of carbs that I eat. So for what it's worth, I believe that you can achieve the results that you're looking for in order to beat type 2 diabetes. And if you haven't been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, but you've been diagnosed with prediabetes, man, you're at a great place in your life to really turn things around. Don't allow prediabetes to turn into type 2 diabetes, because when you get the full onset of adult diabetes, is what type 2 diabetes is called, there are complications that develop as a result of that. So if you're pre-diabetic, hey, take it seriously. When I was first diagnosed with prediabetes back in 2018, man, I did not take it serious enough. I was like, oh, well, you know what? At least I don't have full-blown type 2 diabetes. I'm not at risk of losing any limbs. I just didn't take it very seriously. So I want you to pay attention to what's going on in your body. I want you to take this stuff very seriously. Again, I'm just scratching the surface today. If you want to get more in-depth information on this topic of reversing prediabetes and type 2 diabetes, I want you to check out this episode that I did with a special guest of mine. Her name is Jill Weissenberger. And the episode title is Reversing Prediabetes Through Simple Lifestyle Changes with Jill Weissenberger. Jill is a registered dietitian nutritionist. I interviewed her not too long ago, and we discussed chronic illnesses, not just diabetes, but just other chronic illnesses. And we were able to discuss some practical recommendations for improving health. So go back and look up the episode called Reversing Prediabetes Through Simple Lifestyle Changes with Jill Weissenberger. That was a very, very eye-opening interview that I did with her, and quite a few people really commented and they really enjoyed that episode. So go check it out. And of course, I have some free resource on my website that I want you to download. Just sign up for it and you can download it right away, free of charge. It's a shopping guide that I believe that people can really benefit from. And it will help you to choose fruit and vegetables and how to choose them by color, because guess what? Fruits and veggies, based on their colors, deliver certain nutrients that will benefit our bodies. Like, for example, if you're having issues with your immune system, did you know that there are certain fruits and vegetables that you want to eat and target based on color for that? If you're wanting to prevent things like cancers, there's certain colors or foods that are rich in antioxidants and that will help you to combat free radicals and so forth. Man, it's so awesome. It's mind-blowing. I want you to go ahead and download that resource today. So go to my website. It's beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com and download that resource today. There's a couple of books that I really, from time to time, tell people about that have really impacted my thinking and my education when it comes to just health and nutrition, even dealing with just the mindset change and the mindset shift. And one of the books is by Dr. William Li. It's called Eat to Beat Your Diet, Burn Fat, Heal Your Metabolism, and Live Longer. Check that book out. If you're dealing with habits and poor habits and you want to turn those things around, well, check out the book by Mr. James Clear. It's called Atomic Habits, an easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones. Man, that's a really good book. Battlefield of the Mind by Joyce Meyer. Man, she is a powerhouse. She really, really delves into the mindset and how the mind is a place where people are dealing with a lot of just negativity, and how to really turn those negative thoughts around, have positive affirmations, and really deal with some root causes of the negative thinking, because, people lose battles in their minds. Imagine when you're at the gym and you walk in the gym and you're like, oh man, I'm the biggest person here and people are laughing at me. Or you think people are laughing at you. You think people are watching you when you're at a restaurant. And you're like, oh my gosh, I have this food on my plate. Who's staring at me? Man, there's people who deal with stuff like that. They hear all these thoughts and it's like, man, there's just this battlefield. So Get that book by Joyce Meyer, Battlefield of the Mind. And I have one more book. I don't talk about it often, but it is a really good book if you really want to get down into the nitty gritty of what type 2 diabetes is and what prediabetes is, and really getting an understanding of putting some things in place to help you to not only manage it, but reverse type 2 diabetes. The book is by Dr. James Fung. He's the author of the Obesity Code. He wrote a book called The Diabetes Code, Prevent and Reverse Type 2 Diabetes Naturally. I mean, he gets into fasting and the importance of fasting. He talks about insulin resistance. He talks about what are the things that are the underlying causes of chronic illnesses such as type 2 diabetes and so forth. So I gave you 4 resources for you to start building your library of education to help you along your journey. So I hope you found value in today's episode. I mean, it was a pleasure for me to have you to tune in and to listen in. Folks, be sure to like and subscribe. Tell people about this podcast, man. Help this podcast to grow. If you know somebody who needs to hear this information, hey, so go ahead and tell them about this guy in Atlanta, Georgia, who's talking to people and helping people to reverse type 2 diabetes, because it can be done. All right, folks, as always, stay focused, keep moving, never go back, leap forward, bounce back, because you can, my friend. And above all else, trust God. You got this. I believe in you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with Oscar Camejo. We hope you enjoyed this episode. As a reminder, this podcast is intended for motivational and educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional care by a physician or other healthcare professional or qualified fitness instructor. This podcast is provided on the understanding that it does not constitute medical or professional advice or services. If you're looking for help on your journey, seek a qualified medical practitioner. It's important that you utilize someone who is a trained, licensed healthcare professional who can help you on your journey toward good health.